Hello guys, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. Happy New Year to you. Is it too late to say that? It's definitely too late to say Merry Christmas. It's been a long while, about 3 months or so since I last uploaded something, but I'm here today to say I'm coming back. I've got a bunch of videos coming out soon, or that's the plan anyway. A couple of which are already uploaded. I'm just waiting for them to finish processing. Since it's been so long though, I thought I'd do a quick channel update and briefly cover what my plans are in the coming months. I'm going to split this video into two halves so I can better address the two main kind of focuses this channel has. You can skip to the part that is important or of interest to you, and if you're not interested in the other half, that's totally fine. Quick word on what I've been up to the last few months though. So I last uploaded in October. I had a couple videos planned in late stages of being finished, I think about 80% done or so. But I was not very happy with either one of them. So they both kind of got put on the back burner while I started scripting up some new videos. Did a lot of work on that throughout November. And then December time, completely put everything on hold and went on like a massive Disney Plus binge, chiefly so I could just catch up on things like the MCU and Star Wars. Still haven't seen The Mandalorian, but I managed to get all the various bits of MCU which I hadn't seen, watched in time to see No Way Home. But once the new year rolled around and I was back from my holidays, I decided it was time to get back into it. I had a lot of things, like I said, almost done. I finished them off, and that's what I'm going to be talking about next. So Command & Conquer then, it's been far too long since I last made a video on that. I think the majority of videos on this channel center around that franchise, so I never meant to leave it as long as I did for uploading something new for that. When I finished Red Alert 2 round about, I don't know, middle of last year or something, I had every intention of going on to Yuri's Revenge fairly soon after, and then people were asking me to do so. But I always wanted to check out some of the co-op missions beforehand, and the main reason for that was because I felt like there was certain content in the vanilla game which I'd not seen. There were a handful of units, the faction-specific ones, and some of the ones related to spies and tech structures and the like, that I never saw, and I wanted to before I went into Yuri's Revenge, so I could say I'd like completely seen everything. There were some co-op campaigns, but the reason that never really got started was because I didn't really know how to access them. I know you can do the Yuri's Revenge co-op levels through CNCnet, but it's a little bit more tricky to do the original Red Alert 2 ones. Eventually, though, a couple helpful people left me a comment pointing me in the right direction, and I'd like to do them. Even if I don't do all the co-op missions, I'd like to do enough to see all that extra stuff and then just jump straight into Yuri's Revenge afterwards. So I guess I'm asking if anyone's interested in doing that. I have not got a good schedule or timeline that I can work to, so probably what it will be is a couple people, if you're interested, add me on Discord, and then whenever I'm free to do it, I will jump on Discord, and if you see me on there, you can send me an invite. I don't want to spend too long bogged down in that, because really it's one of the main reasons why I haven't continued on with Yuri's Revenge, even though I'm very much excited to do so. So if you're a decent player and you want to use rush strats, by all means, go ahead. Looking at some of the briefings for some of the levels, you can find them on the CNC wiki. It looks like they're kind of themed in a certain way. It'll be like, oh, player 1, you target that city there and clear it out, and player 2 go attack that airbase over in the other corner of the map. And so I'd like to, if we play them, stick to that in keeping with that, and then gradually try and make an effort to see some of these units that I haven't come across yet in the main game's campaign. That's one half of CNC. The other half is the lore videos. As for CNC lore videos, I had a whole bunch of different ideas of other ones I might do, and I've had a fair few people asking me to, keep doing them, make more of them. And despite the fact that I had those ideas, there was a couple of reasons why it all just kind of tapered off. Chief among those is the fact that the CNC timeline is just a complete mess. It's all over the place. And anytime I'd make a video, especially the ones on the timeline, I'd get a bunch of people come into the comments and say, "Nah, mate, you're wrong. That doesn't make any sense." And I'm like, yeah, I know. Don't have a go at me. Go speak to Westwood about it. There is no right answer for a whole bunch of stuff, especially in the early games in the franchise. And it doesn't. No matter what you think is right, there is something to counter it. You might say, "Oh, no, okay, this is in the game, therefore it has to be this way." But then there's an easy counter argument to that. You say, well, no, that is also in the game, so therefore it can't be that way. And you say, okay, well, what about the manual then? The manual says this, and says, okay, well, this other book that was written, or this online statement, or online promotional stuff says this other counter thing. It says, okay, well, fine then. The game's developer said definitively this is the case, and it says, okay, well, here's a different interview where a different developer said, yeah, okay, no, it's actually this way. And then you get into a whole system of, oh, well, what was more recent? Was it a retcon? If it was a retcon, do they have the authority to say it? And you get in the whole thing of Westwood versus EA, which I just have zero interest in, as if people within a studio don't leave and new people come in, even if it remained Westwood and never EA at all. Not interested in that discussion. And that just kept coming up in everything I was doing. Like I have literally, it's on the channel right now, just set to private, a video to continue the timeline. When I did the redo of the Tib Dawn timeline, I broke off Renegade and Covert Ops and some other interwar stuff into the separate video, and it's finished and on the channel. But I know if I put it public, the response it's going to get from, I'm sure many people will enjoy it, but the response it's going to get is, this is totally wrong, and you are wrong for making it. And like I just said, the timeline is a complete mess. So then I'm thinking, okay, I don't want to explain this to every single person who leaves this comment. So what I'll do is I'll make a video explicitly about why Renegade does not make sense within the CNC timeline. And then I started scripting it, and I'm like, this is just an argument. Why am I writing an argument? That is not fun. I don't care about it enough. So I just forget it. I'll move on. I'll skip it altogether. We'll jump into the more fun stuff. Tib Sun, Tib Wars. Maybe look at doing some Red Alert videos. And then just the same thing. I just knew at the back of my mind it's going to come back. It's going to be, no, Tib Wars isn't real. Oh, it doesn't make sense that technology is regressed, and oh no, it's not a real game because it wasn't made by Westwood. And it's like, oh god, no, no. It's not that I feel really negative about it, which I'm sure is the way it's coming across now, but just I cannot be dealing with those arguments. I don't have the interest to discuss it, especially when people will come in and say, oh, I've just seen this other video that says it's explicitly this way. And I'm like, yeah, I've spoken to the guy who made that video and he doesn't even believe that anymore. Well, anyway, enough said. But what about BattleTech, though? Because that's been the more recent interest in the channel. It's a franchise I particularly enjoy. I had great fun making the dozen or so videos I did for it, and they got a really positive reception, a little bit of traction, which was nice. I wanted to, I want to actively continue making them, and I got some very good news for that, because a couple things that were kind of stopping me from continuing, I have finished up. I had 2 videos I wanted to do. I wanted to re-render the entire series so far into like a 2-hour video that completely covers the Age of War and the early history, which I have done. It's uploaded on the channel. All I'm doing is waiting for it to process. God knows how long that's going to take, because I've done it in 4K 60 FPS. 24 hours has passed and it's still only at 36p at the moment, so it will be going public as soon as it's fully done. And the other one that I did was in response to a question I got 2 or 3 times, and it was, I want to read the books, where do I start? And now there's a van right outside. So way back in October time, I think even before I did that last video on the Star League, or Foundation of the Star League, I had scripted and recorded a video on my thoughts on the BattleTech novels and how to avoid certain common pitfalls when you're starting out. Pitfalls that I fell into. And I got it to about 80% done all the way back in October. And I was kind of listening to it through, just came across really negative, and I didn't like it. So I've trimmed it down a little bit, and now I've got it into a more refined, condensed version. Maybe too condensed, I don't know. But I think I'm pretty happy with the end goal this time round. Again, that's uploaded on the channel. I'm just waiting for it to finish processing. It should probably be done quicker than the 2-hour Age of War video. Even though I uploaded it afterwards, it'll probably go public first, as soon as this one's up as well and it's finished processing. But let's talk about what's coming next. After I finished the last video on Age of War, I was in two minds on what to do next. Did I skip forwards to the Third Succession War, which I think was my original plan, or did I continue through the Star League, which was an area I just wasn't very familiar with? Ultimately, I decided it would be better just to continue through it linearly, which meant I needed to do a whole lot of reading, including sourcebooks which I didn't currently own, several of which have been very kindly donated to me, and others I've tracked down or purchased or whatever. November time, like I said at the start of this video, I spent pretty much the whole month working on a script. And I thought originally, obvious place to start with the Star League is the Reunification War, since it happens right at the very beginning. And I thought this video is going to be long. It's going to be the longest one I've done. Because I did about a 20-minute video on the Davian Civil War. And I'm thinking, Reunification War, there's a lot more written about it. It's a larger conflict. This could get long. It could double the length of Davian Civil War. It could be about 45 minutes even. I thought that was quite a project. And then I just started writing it, and it kept growing, and it kept growing. And what I was finding as I was reading through the Reunification War historical source book, there's so much information scattered throughout that book in a non-linear order. I'm not just talking about the fact it splits up the four fronts and goes through each individually, but just like it would talk about events in 2575, for example, and then like 30 pages later, you'd have, this whole thing also happened in 2573, and it was like, okay, well, I wanted to make it comprehensive and complete, and then it just started to grow and grow and grow and grow until it got to just mammoth proportions. I think looking at the original, I wrote all my original scripts in one document. I think it came to about 26,000 words. That includes the novel video that's coming out soon, and also just that introductory 3025 video. The reunification videos, which I've just finished, actually I might do one final part on just the post-war stuff rather than include it with the Star League. That's 38,000 words. And it was 2 hours when I rendered all this Age of War together. I think Reunification War might be a 3-hour video if I were to upload it as it is now, which is why it's taken so long. I bit off more than I could chew. There's no other way of putting it. It just grew into this monster. But when I wrote the final sentence, and I was like, Reunification War is finished, I'm like, I've really got to get this out here because I've been sitting on top of it. I wrote about 67, maybe 70% of it back in November, and then it was too much. Couldn't continue with it. January came around. I was like, let's finish this. It's all done now. I've done a lot of the extra work behind the scenes, so I've made my maps. I've gathered all the unit insignias I needed, some other artwork. I've got like various folders all set up. Actually, I'll show some things on screen. I probably will have already started that in the editing. Some of the documents, let's quickly get some of those. So yeah, this was my original set of notes for when I was writing the kind of early history. You can see as all the different nations and factions started joining in and where they kind of disappeared, what they transformed into, and various notes I collected along the way just for things to include and to adjust my maps accordingly as various planets joined and what have you. We've got some later events here as well, but this was kind of the first kind of chapter. Then the second one went on to Age of War, and this was every battle that was written about in the Age of War from the various source books. There's surprisingly little that's there. And I thought, okay, well, we're going on to the Reunification War. We're probably going to have something similar for just 20-year conflict as this kind of 200-year period here. I was mistaken. I got to Star League. Here we go, the Reunification War. And holy hell, it grew into this. And you can see those notes on the right-hand side. That's notes I took down just as I was reading the kind of mainline source books before I started reading the kind of focused Reunification War historical. This is like nothing compared to what actually ended up in the scripts. And I wanted to do it in a way that I haven't seen, certainly none of the source books have attempted, and that is a chronological telling of it. all the source books split it into 4 wars, which it essentially was. There was almost no collaboration between the 4 periphery powers. And they go through it starting from, the invasion of that periphery state to its eventual downfall. What I wanted to do, which hasn't been done before as far as I could see in any other source books, is do the entire war as a oneer and jump between the different fronts. So things were happening concurrently, or concurrent events were shown side by side. So you can see at the start here, this is actually the 3rd episode. It begins. The first 2, the war hasn't even started yet, which kind of demonstrates the scope and the detail I went into. I think first episode is going to be on the first 4 years of the Star League and what was going on and how things escalated. Then the second video is going to be purely focused on 2575 and just like a complete overview of all the different military units and who the main characters were going to be in the coming war. That way I can just get all that in one place and not have to worry about introducing people and players as they pitch up. Then the 3rd video was basically on war's outset. It was those kind of final actions, tensions. By this point, there was no going back. There was no stopping what was coming. That jumps in, episode 3 is going to be about Case Amber, which is the Taurian Concordat's plan to try and nullify the invasion force before it even arrived. And then Battle of Tentativa is involved in that. Episode 4, you've now got Operation Bull Run. That's when they actually start invading the Taurian Concordat. Battle of Robsart is basically where the writing's on the wall, even as early as this, is Taurians are going to lose. There is no winning after Robsart, essentially. Episode 5 is where it stops being a 2-front war and turns into a 4-front war against the Rimworld's Republic and the Outwards Alliance, which you can see here. It's all color-coded, all lovely. Case Black and Full Canopus, that's, self-explanatory. Well, Case Black, you'll wait until the videos to see what it is. And Forlo Unleashed was just like the main bulk. So we're wrapping up the Outwards Alliance campaign, the war against the Magistrate of Canopus, and basically where General Forlo just goes mad and starts laying waste to the Taurian Concordat. And then I have one last video which is scripted, The Day of Rage and the Star League Victorious, which is the end of the war, essentially. The last 2 holdouts, so the periphery, are the Taurians and the Rimworlders. I think I'm going to write a 9th video. Whether I don't know whether I'm going to write that before I start. I've already recorded the first episode, so hopefully I can start getting that out soon. My hope is to get it out before the end of the month, and then throughout February do a couple more. Overall, so far, I wish I'd kept track of it. I will do when the next big project comes around. I think I've spent close to 200 hours on this, certainly more than 100 hours so far, and that's just doing all the reading, doing the actual script writing, proofreading, fact checking, doing the first few recordings, and yeah, I think by the time it's all edited and put together, we're probably looking well over 200 hours. But I'm excited to get it done. I'm fed up of sitting on this. I want to actually get it out there. So that's what's coming soon, hopefully. After that, we'll probably take a little bit of a break again. There's other things I want to do on the channel. Jump back over to Public Command & Conquer. But this is what I want to get out first. One minor thing I did that helped kind of rekindle my interest in doing this and finishing off the project was just tracking down some of the art. And it was as I was kind of collecting the pictures for all the different kind of characters that were going to be involved, just felt like I wanted to tell these people's stories and not just sit and leave it be. Anyway, that is the plan. Let's see how well it comes together. If you stuck with me throughout all this, thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate it. And hopefully I can put out some more content in the near future that you enjoy. Thanks for watching.